Okay, making sure we're actually recording this time. Oh my god, I just got finished. I kid you not. And I'm like, all right. And I go to check it, and it wasn't recording. So I'm going to repeat myself a lot here because I just said everything I'm about to say. When I first heard that I was going to be doing the Young Justice series, I was like, yes, I get to do more of the DCAU. I get to look into it, and I love the DCAU, and it's awesome, and this isn't part of it? Why am I watching this show then? No, I'm sorry, no insult intended, obviously. I'm still interested. But my first reaction was just, oh, damn. Because it's not part of the DCAU. It's not part of anything. It's Earth 16, except it's not. Because there's already a comic Earth 16, but that's neither here nor there. But, I took a moment, calmed myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. Really. Because I like a good Elseworlds story. And that's basically what this is. It's its own little take on the continuity over there on the side. The very concept of an Elseworlds. I mean, if you came to me and said, hey, Lore, I'm going to go ahead and commission you to write a story set in the DC verse, but it's your take on it, your own version of it, your own Elseworlds of it. I'd be like, okay, that sounds interesting. That sounds fun. I could do a lot with that, thanks. Because there's a lot of creative potential there. I think that's probably one of the reasons why fan fiction is so well beloved as a concept, too. Good fan fiction. I should mention something. I forgot to mention this. We're only covering seasons 1 and 2 of Young Justice. The reason why is these mini-nations actually take a weirdly large amount of time to do, and that's time that is basically not being spent either recording the mainline ruminations or streaming. And at this point in time, sadly, most of my time has to be allocated towards streaming or doing the mainline ruminations. I'm basically just sitting here working on these mini-nations for about 12 hours a day and then collapsing from exhaustion and then doing it again in order to get these done. I did the same thing with Rebels, getting all of Rebels done in a week. That's how I did that, because I have to. I've got 2 other jobs to work on. So in other words, we're only doing the first 2 seasons because that is what was paid for. That was what was requested. Because at the time, they were the only 2 seasons out. Season 3, I know, has since come out, and I know they've greenlit a Season 4, so that's awesome. And we'll see if I actually end up liking the show as we go through it. I have no idea. But I did want to be upfront about the fact that, for various reasons, we're cutting off at 2. So the setup works. Now, what's funny is they keep using the word sidekick. Funnily enough, that wasn't the word I had in my notes. The word I had in my notes is apprentice. Because it makes sense to me that these people, the elders, the more experienced, the more venerable, are trying to raise up and lift them up to the point where they can become part of the hero community, the next generation, etc., right? And yet, well, they don't seem to be actually doing that. I mean, they certainly seem to be, hey, you've made it, and you get to hang out in the library. Like, I get that you don't want to do everything in big jumps, but at the same time... So first of all, Roy has the Raphael plot. But you know the Raphael plot, right? If you've watched any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ever, you know what it is. It's the plot where, I'm not getting the respect I need. I'm not in charge like I should be. And that's the Raphael plot. It's in all of them. Even the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the one that everyone says is the Michael Bay one, but it's not actually done by Michael Bay. That one. Even that still had the Raphael plot in it, for God's sakes. So Roy leaves, whatever. But my point is, they do speak in a rather condescending manner towards these apprentices, who have obviously proven themselves to some extent or another to even get this far. And then they have a small issue and then a large issue. So what do? Ignore the small issue and go fix the large issue and tell everyone else to just stay here. What? That makes absolutely no sense. It is extremely logical to me that they go ahead and send the new crew after the small issue. There's a fire. Go deal with the Cadmus issue, right? Because A, they need to learn to work in a team, because they certainly don't. B, they need to be able to get experience in actually doing missions themselves without the safety net of the Elder. C, they need to start getting good PR so people can recognize them on sight and know who they are. D, they need the people to be aware of the fact that they're entering the field, so to speak, so the politics and general public consensus and consciousness can accept that they are now part of the superhero group. Is there an E there? Hang on. No, I think that's good. It's several reasons to send them out and get this mission done. Oh, I suppose E, those 2 people probably would have died the two who were knocked out of the building, if not for the fact that the team went there. So that's 5 good reasons now why they should have sent them after the Cadmus Project, but they don't. I guess my point is, you always still need the local heroes for the smaller issues. Just because they're smaller doesn't mean they don't matter, and it doesn't mean they should be ignored. It means you should properly allocate, like an actual decent manager. Someone trying to block out the sun, yeah, that's a high-level problem, which should have high-level people dealing with it. A fire which is threatening to kill people, that's a small-level problem, which should have people addressed to deal with it. Anyways, I'm sorry for getting off on this, but it really irritated me. How they just are like, brr. So, as I mentioned, they don't work in a team at all. Dick goes off and does his own thing. Wally doesn't think 3 steps in front of his face, which is actually kind of funny. It's actually amusing to me as well, because the trio as presented here actually make a decent team, if you think about their kit. What I mean by that is they have the gadgets and the know-how, right, the tech level. They've got the speed from Wally, and they've got the power and the raw durability from Aqualad. I can't remember his name, please forgive me. Done. Great. That's a team. Figure it out. You know, that's a good group composition, right? Anyways. So, of course, as they're going through this super secret lab, they're not filming anything. They're not documenting anything. They don't have a camera going. It always amuses me. You know, you'd think in X-Files, at one point in time, Mulder would just carry around a camcorder, right? And so then we have Odo, that is to say, René Auberjonois, as Desmond, a.k.a. Blockbuster. First of all, it was nice to hear René Auberjonois. He's actually a pretty good voice actor. Second of all, it was amusing to have Desmond there, involved with mind control. That's just a nice little touch. Although apparently he's the one doing the mind control this time, so that's cute. Poor Guardian. Yeah, that felt kind of bad. Anyways. There's this bit where Aqualad says, maybe we should contact the League. You know, what's funny about that is they don't, and for no perceivable reason. What I mean by that is, just reporting in and saying, hey, we found this out, would probably be worth doing, right? The only time they finally decide to contact the League is when they encounter a heavy in the form of Superboy, and then it's too late because they can't get a signal out. Although it's possible they couldn't get a signal out earlier, but they don't even try. It's like they're maybe if they acted as if they were part of a team, like a larger team, like a group of teams who can all work together as part of a Legue or something. I don't know. I'm just talking off the top of my head. Forgive me. So Superboy. Dun, dun, dun. He doesn't have the jacket, so it's awesome. I like that Nolan North plays both of them. I have a quick aside before I chop off here. One of the things I did like about the DCAU was it kind of retooled people's relative power levels. And the most obvious change from the comics proper is Supes himself. In the comics, Supes is ridiculously high tier. This is something that's kind of bled into the recent films as well. Because he is extremely strong, like planet-moving strong, ludicrously fast, and can hear across the planet and can see atoms, and you get the idea. He is extremely high tier. That's the point. He's Superman. In the DCAU, Supes was brought a lot more down to earth, so to speak. Oh, he was still very strong and very fast, and still had a lot of his other powers. He was, in fact, probably still the strongest overall hero in the DCAU. And by strongest, I don't mean literal strength. I mean, like, in terms of relative power set. But he was brought so much more down to earth that it made a lot more sense why Supes would work in a team as part of a group rather than just kind of doing everything by himself. I was with it. I mention that here because you'll notice Superboy is way weaker and slower and, in general, lower tier than Superboy probably should be. Now, I know Superboy was never as high tier as Supes himself, but still, the fact is, he goes toe-to-toe with a guy who's fast, a guy who has gadgets, and Aqualad, who is admittedly the heavy of the group. And they don't get absolutely curb-stomped in seconds. Now, granted, they don't fight him as a team, like I mentioned earlier. But it got me thinking, I wonder if this Supes has been powered down as well, which would, of course, then make sense for Superboy to be even more powered down. I guess I will find out next time. Let's see if we're actually recording this time.